How much of your monthly traffic is coming from Facebook ads? This question we're going to answer today together, and I'm going to talk about why your complete business might be at risk if this number is higher than 50%. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to just another video here on my channel. If you don't know me yet, my name is Victor and I'm the founder of Victor Media, a boutique Facebook marketing agency that exclusively works with D2C e-commerce brands to help them get to the next level with a proper implementation of Facebook ads. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about traffic diversification because this is personally something that I always look at before even considering whether we should take on a client or not. So first of all, for those of you who don't know it, what is traffic diversification, right? So as the name already suggests, it is talking about kind of the amount of traffic and the amount of traffic channels that you have coming to your website, right? This can be either paid like TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, or, organic like SEO, right? Social media, organic content whatsoever, as well as direct traffic, people coming directly to your website, not necessarily through any other type of medium, but probably those people have been in touch with your brand previously through another touch point. So with that being said, right, you want to make sure that you have kind of a diversified, what I like to call it, traffic pie, right? You want to avoid being completely dependent on, for example, just Facebook or TikTok, or, also on the other side, right? Those are the paid traffic channels, right? Also on the other side, you want to, avoid being completely dependent on just your organic traffic because, sooner or later, you will then eventually run into either growth issues or be just completely dependable on another platform that, might not really be completely influenced or influenced at all by, what you want to do as well as your particular business goals. So as I said, before I take on any client for my agency, I dive deep into their Google Analytics, and the first thing that I pretty much take a look at is their traffic diversification pie, right? Where they're getting their traffic from, as well as how dependable, they are, or how dependent they are on Facebook ads. And usually I don't really like to see that number above 50%, right? If I see Facebook ads traffic being responsible for more than 50% of that website's revenue or, sessions, then this is usually a red flag for me because I know that, as soon as something is happening to their ad account, their business will go south, and therefore they will be hugely not only dependent on that Facebook traffic, but also probably really kind of nervous about what is happening within their ad account, as well as just a general business is generally more unstable. So with that being said, I usually like to see that below 50%, but I even try to have that somewhere around 15 to 25% or somewhere around that 30% mark for a business to be really stable, and so we can also sustainably and profitably scale it to the next level. Because on one hand, you obviously have, the paid social side, but, paid socials should never drive your complete business, right? You should have a certain level of brand awareness within the market, and then paid social should just emphasize that, right? Paid social should never be kind of, increased or bigger than, your general brand awareness. And therefore, I actually like to see also how many people are coming in through the funnel via organic, right? Via direct none, that are already kind of familiar or a little bit more familiar at least with the brand equity whatsoever. So those are the two things that I like to see when it comes to actually taking a look within an eCom brand, their Google Analytics, and how I identify whether this might be a brand that, we could help with and that we could actually increase and scale to the next level with paid social, or whether they are just completely dependent on Facebook ads and therefore they are an unstable business. And I've been talking about, the stability of a business as well as kind of the risk, hedging the risk for, a couple of times already throughout this video. And therefore, I wanted to talk about the 3 risks that you are running into when it comes to just being dependent on one traffic source. This, in this particular example, I will take Facebook. However, this also means, organic, TikTok, Google CPC. It doesn't matter. You name the traffic channel. However, you always want to avoid being dependent on just one traffic channel, right? You want to kind of have a diversified traffic portfolio, how I like to call it, where maybe 30%, are coming from Facebook, paid social, whatsoever, more of a kind of pull marketing channel. Then you have more of a push marketing channel. Then you have more of a pull marketing channel like Google CPC, and then maybe more of an organic traffic channel where you have organic, direct, none whatsoever, social content marketing whatsoever, right? So those are the three risks. However, if you're not doing this, if you're not diversifying. So number one is business security. As I've already said, right? If you're super completely dependent on just one traffic channel, it doesn't matter whether it's paid or not. If something happens to that ad network, or if something happens to your ad account, or maybe if we're talking about SEO, right? Like if Google just kind of completely changes their algorithm, right? From one day to the other, you might be completely out of revenue, and your cash flow will decrease, and therefore you will be sitting on a lot of inventory and cash tied up with there, which obviously lets your business run at risk to completely losing it all, being unprofitable, and then unfortunately closing the doors eventually. So, right? You always want to make sure that you have a diversified traffic portfolio just in order to maintain a stable business, right? So if, one kind of ad network or traffic falls behind, you at least can rely on 2-3 other ones, that you still have maybe as a back burner only, right? Maybe this one ad network or whatsoever traffic channel has been responsible for maybe 40% of your business, right? But you can at least, still with a decreased revenue, and it will obviously still be a hit for your business, but you can at least really sustain that hit, right? If you are, for example, sometimes that I see those numbers, right, where people or brands are dependent on Facebook ads by 70, 80, sometimes even up to 90%, right? Imagine this. This ad network just completely defaulting, or something like, the iOS 14.5 update happening that then just kind of derails your ad account. Also, if it's just only temporarily, right? This puts your business at a huge, huge risk. The second thing is enterprise value, right? We've already talked about risk, and that you want to avoid risk by diversifying your traffic channels. However, guess who also don't really like risk, right? Either funds or also potential buyers of your brand further down the line, right? So, people that invest in businesses, people that, in venture capital, as well as, maybe also just, somebody that wants to buy your brand further down the line, they don't like to be dependent or on one ad network, because this essentially just means risk for them and their investment, right? And therefore, if you have any ambition to sell your business further down the line, or also just kind of raise funding, you want to make sure that you have a diversified traffic portfolio, because this will just add enterprise value to you and your company and your brand. And third, and in my opinion, the most important point, is that you always will run into paid traffic ceilings, right? Let's talk about Facebook ads in particular right here, because this channel is, all about Facebook ads and e-commerce growth. Therefore, I wanted to focus on Facebook ads pretty quickly, and, you can pretty much influence all of the metrics that, contribute to the success of your campaign on Facebook, right? Click-through rate, cost per click to a certain extent, right? You can influence your, conversion rate, average order value, right? Even your contribution margins, as well as your, just general, lifetime value that is dependent on the particular cohort or your customer, right? You can influence all of those, but there's one metric that you cannot influence at all. This is CPM, right? Cost per mil, right? The cost to reach 1,000 impressions and reach 1,000 people on this ad network, in this example, Facebook ads, is completely out of your reach, right? You can maybe talk about, okay, you can influence this with broader settings, targeting settings with different countries whatsoever, if you have the logistics set up to do so. However, long story short, the CPM over the long run will always increase. If I'm not mistaken, I think in 2021, this CPM increased by about 83%, right? So if you are dependent on an ad network like Facebook ads, right, and you're right now running on a 50% profit margin, right, I can guarantee you that, latest in 1 or 2 years, this will just not be an existing business anymore, right? Because you will run out of your profits just because you cannot control your CPMs. The demand, will stay the same in terms of the people that are the active users on the platform, or at least they will be similar to that. But this, the supply, the supply will stay similar, but the demand in terms of advertisers that want to join the game and also want to get a piece of the cake will just simply increase, which will ultimately, just increase the prices, right? So this is generally the third point that, in my opinion, is the most important point. You have a paid traffic ceiling, right? And the same goes, for all the other ad networks out there, right? You have a paid traffic ceiling, and you can either just scale to certain point where then either kind of your scale drops off because due to unprofitability, or you just generally are maintaining your scale, but your margins will be squeezed out by the increase in CPM and cost to advertise on that platform. So this is pretty much it for that video. I generally always really like to see a brand, as I said, hovering around that 30% mark when it comes to their Facebook ads. Then I know that I can profitably scale their Facebook ads. Pretty probable that I can then profitably scale their Facebook ads, because then also they have other traffic channels and a really kind of well-oiled wheel and traffic generator in place, which might be email, right? Which might be SMS, that are also really kind of accelerating that flywheel with Facebook ads, because just got to be honest, CPMs on Facebook ads are rising. It's more difficult than ever before to advertise profitably on Facebook. And if you do not really have a particular, or a diversified traffic portfolio of organic, email, SMS, right, as well as, kind of Google CPC, if it's only running on a retargeting basis, right? If you do not really have that in place, you're going to have a really hard time scaling your brand profitably and sustainably. So, and in the case if you're right now saying, well, my traffic is actually not so diversified and I'm super dependent on Facebook, and you want to know more about how to properly and sustainably scale your business by diversifying your traffic channels and how to implement that, then make sure to drop a comment below and hit the subscribe button, and I'll make sure to actually record a video just talking about that going into the future. So without any further ado, however, I hope I could open some eyes right here, and that you are now putting your hat down to put in the work and actually diversify your traffic portfolio. Either way, every Thursday there are coming new videos on e-commerce growth, Facebook ads, as well as how to scale your business profitably to the next level. So if you want to stay up to date with the most current Facebook ad trends and whatsoever, then make sure to hit the subscribe button right below, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep growing. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. I know that if you've come this far, that you form a part of an exclusive group of people that do not only talk, but walk the talk, and that you are hungry for more content. So therefore, I went ahead and picked out an exclusive video just for you that I know you're going to love. Check it out right here.